Lonely.
Hey everyone, this is Arsenal Fan Circle, and yeah, I should not be so happy. I am not so happy. Um, Listen, did I think we were going to win the Europa League? Probably not. But I also didn't think we were going to go out at the round of, what is it, 32 guys?
32.
Round of 32. Everyone, I think regular viewers know everyone. I don't need to go through introductions. I've got Stan, I got Tanner, I got Ryan, and I got Tina or Tony here. And I got myself on reverb. So let's get into it. Stan, your initial thoughts?
Very disappointing. But, after we've had like a little while on reflection, I look at it this way. It's obvious now that looking at that team lineup, that's where Mikel Arteta had all of his eggs placed. He obviously thought that he wanted to get us a result in the Europa League.
Yes.
But you know what? You got to remember that this is a manager. That this is his first rodeo, and he's using these games to find out who he can rely on. And I still trust that, come the summer, he'll make the changes that are needed. He has to find out who he's got. That's why certain players haven't gone back out online. He's kept them in-house, and he's taking a look at these players. But yeah, my initial thoughts is that I'm very disappointed that we were given an extra half an hour to try and get out of jail, and we could still be playing now. And I don't think that we'd probably would have got it done.
Thanks, Stan. Tanner, your thoughts?
I'm going to echo what Stan said. It was
a very good lineup. It was a strong lineup.
Yeah, it was a strong lineup, and when you think about what we have coming up on Monday, you play this lineup because going down to Portsmouth on Monday in the FA Cup, you can afford, I think, to play a few of the younger kids. Some of the reserves that typically get a spot on the bench or maybe don't get a jersey at all.
Maybe one of the loans in Mali.
Yeah, and it just an overall just a disappointing night. The effort just wasn't there. I just didn't see the effort. Not gonna come down too hard on Arteta. It's as Stan said, it is his first rodeo. So it just sucks that sometimes you have to learn a hard lesson. And for him, I think this is a hard lesson to learn that, we had some dead legs out there tonight. And, you got to recognize that and make the necessary changes. I'm not sure that he did. And like I said, it's a tough way to learn that lesson. So.
Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah. Well said. I mean, everybody has their opinions as far as who they want as a starting 11. But I mean, this is as strong as Arteta is going to make it. This is his top of the line starting 11. So, if we can't win this, at the Emirates too, no less. Although it didn't feel like the Emirates. All I heard was the Olympiakos fans chanting. So,
yeah.
No, I don't want to down because I know we all have some friends that were at the game. So I don't want to get too on them. But yeah, it was pretty quiet. it was a quiet night. I didn't even know we were home until I saw someone posting pictures at the game. I was like, oh, okay.
I think if I can real quick, I think a lot of the fans tonight were very, very, very skeptical, and it's a bit ironic too when you come home with the the one away goal lead, and fans are just they're very reserved. I think there was an air of, or I think there was doubt in the air.
See, I kind of thought the opposite. I thought, well, I guess more so the players. I thought they're Olympiakos who's going to roll over and just let us give it to them.
Yeah.
But
Tony, we picked a strong side, but like Ryan and Tanner were just saying, maybe an air of complacency, and we didn't take care of things in 2 legs, over 2 legs.
Yeah, I think we were cocky and too much of a copy and paste lineup.
Sounds very Wenger-ish of you to say, copy and paste lineup.
Like we all said, I looked at the lineup. That was a strong lineup hopefully finish off the tie, Stan, and it just never happened, never got going. We never hit the gears that we needed to, and the sucker punch hit us at the start of the second half.
I honestly thought that, looking at the first leg, that we'd done the hard part. It's difficult to go to Olympiakos and get a result. We didn't get the security of an extra goal, but, coming back home, and I think it was Ryan who said it. I was the same. I was watching it down the pub, and I said to the guy next to me, "It doesn't feel like we're playing at home at all." We've done the difficult part, and I was actually thinking that we would be lucky to come away from Olympiakos with a draw or get anything out of the game. So I have to say, I was actually confident going into this game. I wasn't skeptical at all. I was very confident that going into this game, and we're coming off the back of 3 wins now in 7 days. There was a nice feeling around the place. A lot of players were getting a lot of game time. We've just had a couple of weeks away to have a break as well. I really thought that we were going to get something out of this game and we would get the job done. And I am very disappointed that we didn't. And at one point I was thinking, okay, we can do without playing this extra half an hour. But, for the spectator side of it, wouldn't it be great if this goes down to penalties and we see a couple of saves by Leno? It's a right nail biter. We go through the full roller coaster, but we still get the result. We couldn't finish it off. Couldn't finish it off at all. Disappointing.
And I think the way the game played out right at the end there sort of was a gut punch for us, a sucker punch a little bit. So would we have taken this a little bit easier if we'd have lost in the 75th minute rather than having Aubameyang do what Aubameyang does and save us again, apparently, but it didn't happen.
I mean, who's not sitting here now on the corner or in the chat box and didn't think that when Aubameyang scored that sort of scissor kick, did you not think that was a game-winning goal right there?
Yes.
Yep.
It should have been. It should have been. And that's quite damning on our back four, on our defending, where we couldn't hold on to the ball, Tanner, for the last 3 to 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, just get the ball run into the corner, and I'm not necessarily advocating this necessarily all the time, but for crying out loud, just kick the ball to the other end. I don't even care if we get it. Just kick the ball into the other into the attacking 18-yard box. Just kick it there and make them go another 100 yards. Just make them start over. And, and we don't even do that. And it's one of those. Again, I do this a lot, and forgive me. It's I don't know. Maybe it's just the egotistical American part of me. But
let's hear it.
Like in ice hockey, when a team is killing a penalty, what do? Rather than sit there and try to
ice it,
fiddle with the puck, just put it in the other end. Make them start over and go 200 feet.
Yeah.
Why don't we, in defending anybody? Nobody does it. So I get it. That's just not part of the sport. But kick the ball into the other fucking end and make them go another 100 yards. Sorry, but come on. If you can't run it into the corner, just do that. And there's still some anger there from tonight, obviously. And like you said, Ray, it feels like a sucker punch. And I'll explain to you exactly why. Because while it wasn't the very last thing that happened, I don't know if any of you guys are hockey fans or not, but think about it in overtime. And nice. In playoff overtime hockey, it goes until somebody scores, and when somebody scores, it's sudden stop, and that's pretty much what it was tonight. Was sudden stop. And so, Ray, to your question, would we feel this way if it happened in the 75th minute? No, because it's not the sudden stop. We still have 15 to 20 minutes to try to get it back. This felt like the sucker punch because, for all intents and purposes, it was the last thing. Despite Aubameyang's chance that he had, with in the very final minute, that man, and boy, what do you say? Those things are going to happen. He's got to bury it, but it happens. And it feels like a kick in the nuts because of when it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan, you got Aubameyang doing the impossible and missing the gimme a little bit right at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been the story of our last few weeks. Lacazette's missed a couple sitters. Eddie's missed a few sitters. It happens. I mean, people have been saying, oh, he should have made that. But then again, it's like, all right, but did you really expect him to get that bicycle kick? So come on. I mean, it sucks. But yeah, definitely a gut punch. I think too, because it's kind of like what Tanner was saying, kicking into the end of the field. Like we kind of invited them to come at us, which is not us at all. We're like, oh, we have the win. Like we just gotta run the clock out. So like, yeah, come forward. But to me, the best way that as Arsenal killing the clock off, just play possession, make these stupid sideways, do the Xhaka, sideways, backwards passing, fuck around with each other, have Pepe dribble through like a guy or two, But no, we just kind of our back four kind of backed up. Xhaka kind of almost played like a Torreira-esque where he was just kind of running around the place, but he didn't know what he was doing. Meanwhile, he was a third center back, so it was very interesting. But it just I don't know. I thought the game was over. When Aubameyang scored, I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, there it is.
Hands up,
cool.
who thought the game was over?
Got up. I was like, yeah, it's game over. But then, I saw, once we kicked off, I saw us kind of back up, and just positionally, it was very strange for Arsenal, just the way we were set up, the way we kind of invited them on. When the first half of extra time, they looked so tired. They invited us. They were like, all right, we're just going to defend, and then you can't do anything about it. When we'll go to PKs. And we were okay with that because we were creating a little bit. We were doing some things, and they were getting tired. So it was just I don't know. It was just, I don't know. And then when they scored, I thought it was a dream. I don't know. I
put a tweet out. It was right probably 2 minutes before Aubameyang scored that overhead kick or bicycle kick, whatever you want to call it. Would we be brave or would we revert back into our shell? And we did both.
Well, in fairness, they let us be brave.
6 minutes.
I don't think we would have if they let us.
Tony, set piece defending again is coming back to hurt us. It hurt us against Everton at the weekends.
Yeah, we were pretty
now again today.
Yeah, starting off the year, we were solid on free kicks and scoring on them. Now we're letting the opponents score on them left and right.
Hey Stan, are we reverting back to our old ways? Arteta seemed to have us drilled quite well defensively for the first 7, 8, 9 games of his short reign so far, but it seems like we're reverting back to old ways when it comes to letting crosses into the box and not actually dealing with them. David Luiz, I don't know how he missed that header.
If you look at the back four since Mikel Arteta has been in charge, it's never really been a stable back four. There's been a lot of changes. I thought for a while that the centre pairing that he seemed to favour was Socrates and David Luiz. And as much as I'm not a fan really of either player, I thought they were building up some kind of a partnership. And now all of a sudden you've got Slim Shady sneaking back into the back four. You know what I mean?
The silver fox himself.
Listen, you may have dyed your hair.
Slim Shady.
He may have dyed his hair, but I still know who that is. I still recognise him.
That's Colonel Mustard.
Colonel Mustard.
Exactly. So, we haven't really had a stable back four. For some reason now, Ainsley Maitland-Niles is nowhere to be seen anywhere near pushing Bellerin. And I thought that, for me, Hector Bellerin is a much better player when he knows that he's not going to be picked every week straight off. When he's got somebody that's giving him a little bit of competition for his play, you get better performances from him.
Exactly.
And that seems to have died off from Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I don't know what the reason is, but with that, it seems that Hector Bellerin's performances have also died off as well because he was terrible again today. Terrible. So
perhaps.
And defensive-wise, I've been saying this for the last few weeks now. Do you not think that it's quite funny that the guy who seems to be our best defender, which is David Luiz, is a defender who's not actually known for his defending, and that's our best defender.
Yeah.
That needs to be corrected.
It's been needing him correcting for 10 years.
The first point there, Tanner, is Hector Bellerin. Are we trying to play a player back into fitness?
Could be.
And he's just not at the races right now.
I don't know that he truly believes that Maitland-Niles is going to push him. So I tend to agree with Stan that he plays better when he's got somebody behind him pushing him. But I don't think he really feels that Maitland-Niles is going to, in fact, push him for that spot. And maybe he's not. Maybe there's something going on in training that we're not privy to, that we're not seeing. Excuse me. That leads Arteta to think, look, man, I'm only going to go with this guy if I absolutely have to. As far as the back line goes, I wanted to make a point about Bukayo Saka and everybody talking about, he's a new left back and this and that. And this is again the reactionary fan base we were talking about off the air. Settle down, everybody, because there's a guy back there who's got a bad shoulder right now who should be back here hopefully within a month.
Wait, which one? They both got bad shoulders.
Sorry. Kieran Tierney.
You got to be specific because some people might think
I forgot.
Don't worry, guys. Kolasinac will be back.
Yeah, just to get hurt again. Can't wait for that.
Thanks for the warning, Ray. But Kieran Tierney's who I'm speaking of, and let's again keep in mind that Saka's not a natural left back, and God bless him, he's done yeoman's work back there. I mean, he's blossomed into a great player. I maintain I don't want to see him there, and I'm kind of getting off the topic here, but my point is that's not where he's best, in my opinion. So you're playing, if you're playing 4 at the back and Saka's your left back, aren't you really kind of playing 3.5? And if Bellerin has a bad day, well, then you're really kind of playing, 2 with a half out wide on the right and a half out wide on the left. So
yeah,
the back line, really what we need, and Stan, you're right. Our best defender, quote unquote, best defender, isn't known for his defending. We need a guy who just says, F it. I'm going to defend. If I'm, needed up in the box, great. If that's in the repertoire, fantastic. But give me a dude that just stays back and bosses the back line. Just give me that guy, please.
It's funny, and I know you guys probably won't agree with me. I think the last few games it's been Mustafi, and I have not been his biggest fan for
Ryan,
a long time.
I agree with you 100%.
But
I agree with you 100%.
And I do think, Stan, you're right in the fact that Luis has probably overall been the best defender this season. But for the past few games, I think besides that error against Chelsea, I think Mustafi's been solid. I mean, I think what was it, stoppage time in our last Premier League game? He kind of dove in haphazardly, but I think he was our best player. He made one really scary pass. I think it was the first half. He made a really fucking terrible pass. Other than that, though, I thought he was our best player. So, I mean, obviously it's not saying much because I can't give him a match.
There were a couple of moments where the ball was coming in, and I'm like, oh, no. Right at Mustafi. Yes!
Yeah.
He made the play. He made the defensive play. I agree with you 100%, Ryan. I think he's been, A, the best defender for the past few weeks, B, the most improved player considering where he was under Mikel Arteta.
Shout out to Pablo A in the comments section. We really need to talk him down a little bit. Things will be okay.
Man, listen to me. Pablo, look at me right here, buddy. I need you right here. It'll be okay, man. You're going to love football. Trust me. You'll be all right.
And Glenn, too. So we'll get there, Glenn. But to Glenn's point, Martinelli should have come on earlier. Tony.
Yep.
Tony, what was your take on the substitutions for you?
I waited too long to try to change the game again and just wasn't effective with the substitutions.
And by all accounts, Stan Ceballos did not have a great game. I only watched highlights again. Sorry. Apologies.
Tisk.
See, the thing with Danny Ceballos for me is I want to see consistency from players. And I've seen some good things from Danny Ceballos, but I still don't think that I've actually seen enough of him for me. If you're asking me, is this a player that we should go all out to spend money on in the summer? I've still not seen enough of him. And I am a little bit worried that some of his performances, there doesn't seem to be a lot of consistency, because I thought it was terrible today. You know, he wasn't doing what Xhaka was doing for the right-hand side. You know, Xhaka kept shuffling across and covering when Saka went forward. Dani Ceballos was doing none of that whatsoever. Sometimes you'd be lucky, he would glance over and look at the space that Hector Bellerin would vacate, but that was about it. You know, I honestly was, and we look a lot more secure when Torreira comes on. So I'm very surprised that Dani Ceballos has been getting the shout ahead of Torreira. If Mikel Arteta was putting all of his eggs into the Europa League basket, I don't understand why Torreira didn't start ahead of Dani Ceballos.
I think it was somewhat influenced by the last two results in the league, winning games with that lineup. 4 goals against Newcastle and 3 against Everton.
And I think Ceballos is also a lot more creative, and the
well.
way the tactics are, which I don't necessarily agree with it, how Xhaka slides into the left back role and Saka goes up. Leaving Torreira there doesn't really do anything for us, whereas leaving Ceballos there, not saying it's better, but we still have a creative outlet in him. So, I mean, I see it, but I think it's all I think our midfield is just fucked. As nice as I can put it.
It's the one thing with
the most surgery. Go ahead, Tanner.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say the one thing with Torreira is he's a fantastic ball winner defensively, but that creative outlet isn't there, and he does in his own end, he seems to want to get rid of the ball almost too quickly rather than take your time. Is there space in front of you? Take the space. You know, he just seems to look to unload the ball in his own end a little too quickly. So I see both sides of it. I'm a big Lucas Torreira fan. He's young. He's what, 24?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's Steve. So this kid, for what he's trying to be, or what he wants to be, as far as I understand it, which is that defensive, that holding midfielder, that defensive midfielder. I think he's maybe got another couple of years before he fully blossoms into that role. So I'm, to a degree, willing to live with the growing pains, but I want him to play. Ceballos back there with Xhaka, to me, is just – Ray, I think you're right. I think you're looking at results, and you're saying, well, hey, look at what we did against Newcastle. We scored 3 against Everton. It's the results are good, so you kind of say, if it's not broke, let's not fix it.
Yeah.
You know? Let's not fool with it if it's not broken.
I also think it comes down to straight tactics. Like, I just don't think Torreira fits the way Arteta wants us to play right now. I think Torreira's best option is to play in the midfield 3, kind of play maybe in the midfield 3 in the center, but a little farther back, right in front of the back 4.
Yeah.
He needs to be that shield in front of the back 4.
Be a sweeper.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
I always confuse sweeper and stopper, but he'd be that.
Go in the ball in front of the back 4. Do that. You know, that's what I see him as. But then control that area of the midfield right in front of the back 4. But again, take your time, and that's that. I think he'll grow into that in time. But right now, Ryan, I'd agree with you on that.
I'm also a little bit worried about investing too much time into Dani Ceballos, because I think he's made it very clear from the beginning when he came to Arsenal that this is basically a stepping stone of getting into the Real Madrid team. That's where his heart is. You know, he's a local. He's from around that way. You know, as soon as when he was out of his injury and he thought that he wasn't getting enough game time, he started getting all pissy about it and wanted to go somewhere else. Even if we said today, okay, here's 40-50 million pounds, we want Dani Ceballos, I'm not sure whether that's what the player wants either. So in that respect, I don't know why we should be investing so much time in a player that probably won't be with us going forward, when we've got someone like Torreira, who we should be spending a little bit more time on and investing in, because we've spent the money on that player and we should try to get the best out of him.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But also, Arteta has to look at everything that he has and try to come up with the best formations, the best working midfield. We all know our midfield is probably the weakest link in the whole team, Tony, at this point.
It needs a total rebuild.
It's funny, too. If you asked me, before the season, I'd be like, you're fucking nuts. I was like, our defense needs, so much help. Our defense needs, the plastic surgery. I'm like, yeah, I was just like, our midfield needs like Botox, and our defense needs like full on like plastic surgery. Now it's like the opposite.
Total facelift.
You need it. It's like Nicolas Cage in Face Off. You need to swap faces. Like it's bad.
Reference.
Real
Ryan,
bad.
I'm kind of this is like kismet right now, man.
We need a boostage in cup size.
What's that? What'd you say, Stan?
We need a boostage in our cup size. We need to go.
All right, so for that goal that cost us the whole tie and going out of Europe, for me, there's two things that happened there. I know Leno's been people are trying to single out Leno as the culprit here, but for me, the young player and Martinelli really should be fouling that player on the wing, not letting that cross come in.
Yeah.
But when the cross
You could have
does
blamed
come in-
so many players for that entire sequence of play. It's just the fact that like the ball went out the corner. Oh, you got to blame Leno. But in the first half, Leno made 2 saves that kept us in the game. He made 1 save where he had his arm stretched out. It was a crazy save. And that could have been the game right there. He wouldn't have been in that situation had he not made that save. We would already been out. So I don't know. I don't get it. I just don't.
And then what the hell is David Luiz doing there, Stan?
He pulled a Xhaka, the Olay. Just lets
He
the
seems to
ball
leave
go.
the ball for the keeper.
Yeah. No, our defensive errors have never really gone away, have they?
No.
You know, we've had a couple of games where we've been really good attacking wise, and I think it's kind of masked our defensive errors, but they've never really gone away. And until we get a settled formation, especially at the back, a settled formation, which I think is going to be four players, we're going to have problems. You know, and moving forward, you know, if we look forward to next season, David Luiz is still going to be around. You know, we didn't just buy him for 1 season. And if you've got a young player coming in like William Saliba, and we do go out and spend money, let's say we all get our dream and we go out and spend money on someone like an Upamecano as well. There's no way that from day one we're going to be able to just put out Saliba and an Upamecano together. Yeah. It's going to be a settling in period. So we're going to be still relying on a player like David Luiz, and even maybe to some extent Socrates, if he doesn't get moved on, to help bed these young players in. So
I'd actually probably rather be Socrates. That's sort of the mentor to those 2 guys, only because, staying back to your point earlier, David Luiz might be our best defender, but he's not known for defending. Like, at least I see, like, you guys remember last year, I can't remember who it was against. It was a home match. I know that, but Socrates put the ball out for a corner.
Oh, and he celebrated like he scored.
Yeah, he gets up. You know, he's fist pumping. I can't remember. Burnley. He comes back. He tracks all the way back, knocks the ball out behind goal, and it goes for a corner kick. But he's back there. You know, let's go. That's the defender I want, just with the ability to defend.
But it appears Mikel Arteta fancies Slim Shady ahead of him, because. And he has been putting in some good performances, Mustafi, but I'm surprised that Socrates has kind of taken a bit of a back seat.
I think it's back to you look at it's a results-driven business, and again, I think it goes back to the whole not broke, don't fix kind of thing. He's been in there. The results have been good, so it's kind of like don't tinker with it. It's I'm not going to sit here and say I think I would have rather seen Socrates in there over Mustafi today, because I think he's had a good run of form. Mustafi,
and I don't want to harp on this too much either, because I keep bringing it up, and I get annoyed when I keep bringing the same fucking thing. But tactics, Socrates is not a ball playing center back. Mustafi is. Mustafi's great on the ball. He's good at progressing the ball forward. Socrates is just an out and out defender, so it doesn't really fit into Arteta's plans. So like I get it. But let's also not forget, Socrates is known to make some fucking dumbass mistakes too.
Oh, they all.
So it's like,
they're all.
At one point, just pick your poison. At that point,
So more to the point, then, does Mustafi get in because of the good run of form? Whereas you're like, well, they're all 3 of them are boneheads. They've got one asshole move in them at some point during the 90 minutes.
Every 4 games. Yeah.
So,
Tanner, Tanner, does this open the way up with the FA Cup coming to see Pablo Mari? What he's going to do in the FA Cup?
Is he fit? I think when he got here, he wasn't fit. So that's I think that's partly why we haven't seen him, even as a sub. Was he named in the subs today? I don't think.
No.
No.
I would have for sure thought he would start against Portsmouth, but he's literally only played one game, and that was for the under-23s. And I think he played just a half. Or did he play the whole game? I don't know. But he played at least.
I'm not sure.
I know it's him and Holding started.
Holding. He played the whole game.
Oh, he did play the whole game?
Okay, yeah. I'm all right.
They lost. I heard he was good. Don't get me wrong, but I heard they still lost. I think they lost 3-2 to Chelsea on under 23. So I mean, that's not enough to start against, even though it is Portsmouth. I gotta start him. Hopefully, we can maybe work into hopefully we just batter Portsmouth and bring him on, get him some minutes. But I don't know.
Yeah, but depending how bad Mustafi is with that injury, we may have to play him.
Yes, I forgot. Yeah, he had that.
Did he pull a hamstring? Is that what that was?
He was grabbing it.
I thought the way he was laying on the ground, I thought he was just cramping up. But then I thought the decision to sub him off had already been made prior to the cramp. I haven't heard anything as far as his injury goes.
So Pablo's looking for things to blame on this result. We all are.
Don't do it. That's what everyone's doing, and I can't stand it. You can't blame one person. You can't blame one play. You can't blame Leno's one touch as the reason why we're out of Europa. Come on, you can't do that.
Right,
full team effort. Full team effort. What is a team you lose the team?
Took the whole team.
Put out
though.
Another tweet. We kind of win together, we lose together as a team. I didn't know the result at the time. We were either going to pull it out of the fire or lose. And this day was going to come. We were going to lose the game. So let's stick together, right, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the first half we weren't playing great. Don't get me wrong, but the chances were coming. We were just making the dumbest fucking mistakes. The last second, we just couldn't make that right move. Ozil was passing to Pepe when he should have passed it to Aubameyang. Aubameyang should have passed it to Ozil, and he passed just dumb fucking moves. And I was just I just didn't get it. And I was like, well, but then at that point, I was like, all right, well, we're getting there. So it's we're gonna eventually get it. We're gonna eventually make one right move. The ball's going to bounce our way because we were giving it to them. At one point we had 70% possession. Meanwhile, in the first leg, they had more. I think it finished. They were at 51% possession. We had 49. So being at 70, it was different. But I thought for sure we'd score, but we couldn't. I don't know. We didn't know what we were trying to overcomplicate things. And I don't get it. And I actually wrote my notes. I don't want to try to lighten the mood a little bit, but the best way I can describe it would be, you're a straight man, you go to an orgy, a bunch of hot women, and you just don't know who to fuck, and then you end up getting fucked by the regular Todd. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened. We couldn't pick, we couldn't decide what we want to do, and then boom, they score, and it's like, well, that's your problem. We couldn't pick something, and then boom, Todd.
This painting was a gift, Todd. This painting was a gift. It's going with me. This painting was
exactly.
a gift.
It's just.
Be careful what you ask for, right, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm dead.
I couldn't. It is, it sucks.
Oh man.
Well, Pablo, I think is feeling a little bit better. Tony, right now.
There it is. Therapy, baby. Therapy.
I'm trying, Pablo. You're trying to cheer you up.
Right.
Nothing like a good orgy.
I just think that.
Kissed.
I just think that I want to see Mikel Arteta learning from mistakes. That's the thing. I understand that people make mistakes and there's learning curves. I get that. But I really hope that I see him learning from them and not going through the same mistakes repetitively.
That's a great point I wanted to make. It's only a second European game in charge of a team, Stan.
And where I'm coming from is I look at the starting lineup and just for my own opinion, I know nothing about tactics, but I would love to see us starting to take Lacazette out of the game and starting with Aubameyang in the central position with Martinelli on the left. And like we did at Newcastle, if there's some game time, we can start easing Lacazette back into play off of the bench. But it's so difficult to argue that point when you've got Aubameyang is still scoring goals from wide. If he wasn't scoring goals from wide, then there'd be more of a shout for it. I would still like to see it, but I don't know whether I'm being selfish. I don't know what you guys think because he's still
Well,
scoring.
Tony, I was going to go to Tanner,
Shaking his
but
head, bro.
Tony's
No,
shaking his head.
Tony's it's on the tip of his tongue.
You're breaking the sequence here, Tony, but we'll go
Tony.
counterclockwise now. Tony?
I think you got to keep playing Laka, especially since Uba's scoring goals out there. And like I said, for 2 games that they did bench Laka, Uba didn't score at all down
I don't know, but are we falling back into the same habits like Stan said? Why not bench or rest Lacazette and switch Aubameyang or Lacazette in games? Not have them on the field at the same time. And maybe that's part of the problem.
Oh, I don't want to say it, but
play both of them at the same time.
tactics. The way they set up is they have Lacazette coming back to do all the dirty work because Aubameyang's not going to do that, and then they cut Aubameyang into the inside
Aubameyang
left.
does it on the wing, Ryan.
He does. No, he does. He does play the wing a lot, but the way they do is if you see us in the run of play, if Aubameyang's not, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but if the ball isn't at Aubameyang's feet, if you notice, he kind of cuts into the middle because he kind of plays inside left.
Yeah.
Unless the midfield is up with the attack, then he kind of branches off to the side and plays kind of like that outlet. Like especially if like Saka's not there, he'd kind of play that so he could play like a cross or something or cut in. But normally he plays in the inside left, which he's still scoring goals, so cool. But I don't know. And I was always under the impression of I never wanted to see Lacazette and Aubameyang play together. I just don't think they work together.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's kind of working.
I'm gonna come to you, Tanner, after
I don't know.
I'm just going to say, I get that, but if he's going through a learning curve, how comes we've not seen it? How comes we've not seen the experimentation for him to say, okay, let's try this and take a look. Let's try Aubameyang centrally as he is a central striker, and let's take Lacazette out of the frame. What did he do instead? He left it the way it was, and he put Eddie Nketiah in.
Yeah, that's experimenting, though, right, Stan?
Just the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly. It's experimenting, but why not try with maybe Aubameyang starting with Martinelli on the left, with Nketiah coming off the bench? Do you see what I mean? And this is why it's so. I know it sounds a bit churlish because you could say, well, Nketiah did score, and he hit the underside of the crossbar to almost score again. So
yeah.
Again, this is just my opinion. I would like to see us try that style of play to see how it would work. But I have to caveat it with it's difficult for me to have that argument with Aubameyang still scoring off the left. So I do get that. And I do understand what you're saying about the tactics side of it, Ryan.
All right.
I get that.
All right, Tanner. Tanner, what's your take?
So this is going to sound way off the wall, and you guys are going to think I'm completely off the reservation with this idea. But what about instead of playing Aubameyang out wide, and see, this is how silly of an idea it is. I'm not even making eye contact with you right now. I don't know if it's a silly idea.
This is revolutionary.
No, it's silly. I'm ready. I
would be tempted to, in certain matches, play them both up front as a striking tandem. Now, the caveat to that is needing someone as an attacking midfielder. Ideally, that would be Mesut Ozil, but it's not. He's not that player. He's not the player that I would want to see in that role. And please don't ask me who I would want to see in the role because I'm honest to God, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that player's on this team right now.
Nobody.
Anyway, but you play Aubameyang and Lacazette both up front. You basically play a 4-1-3-2 formation. The problem there is you don't necessarily have enough defense. So therein lies the problem. You know what I mean? But playing them both together, look, the chemistry was there last year. The chemistry between them was there last year. Yeah. And I was screaming from the rooftops, play these two together, even if Aubameyang is out wide, because Ryan, you're right. He wants to cut back in and he plays more. Yeah, but he plays more in towards the middle. Look, Aubameyang is what Pepe is. He's just on the other side. He's got the pace, but he's always going to look to cut back inside. Always going to look to cut back inside.
Yeah. Whereas last season we had Lacazette and Aubameyang, Tanner. Now we've got Pepe, 72 million, and we've got Martinelli, a young kid who's pushing through. So where does that argument fit in now with those two new players this season from last season? You know? you kind of have to accommodate them as well. Try to accommodate them.
On the one hand, you say it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Because
Sports
you feel like,
competition.
yeah.
We need.
Well, and that's just it too. It should breed competition. However, the manager can't be married to if one player is pushing through in training. You kind of got to ride that player if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's we need depth, obviously, but the fact is you can only put 11 guys on the field at the same time. What am I? I'm looking at Pablo's comment here.
4 defenders.
Yeah.
Two defensive midfielders.
I actually like Pablo what he's saying about that, but our midfield would get
thrashed. Oh yeah, we'd get run out of every stadium.
You think our midfield's bad now? If we played that, oh my god, we would get.
It's what I'd like to see. I've always favoured a position to have 2 strikers, but we haven't got the players to cope with what that formation would take. But that is a similar formation I would love to see.
Yeah,
but we just don't have the personnel to carry.
That's in a formation like that. In a perfect world, our defense would be rock solid. We really wouldn't have to worry about them too much. It would be, look, you guys push forward when the ball comes into the attacking end, and you kind of just hover right around the midfield area. And then as soon as they win possession back, you're backing up as quickly as possible. Let's see it, Tony. Tony, back out a little bit. There we go. Yeah. See, the only thing with that, all right.
Who do you have? I can't even see you have.
I like that.
So now a little bit of tactics talk, and I'm going to qualify this with I've never played this sport in my life, to be honest with you. So at least in an organized fashion, anyway. The only thing with that formation is I would want someone in the middle, in between Aubameyang and Lacazette. I want that as the motor. I want that guy, whoever that number 10 would be, if that's even the number in that formation. That's the guy I want feeding Aubameyang and Lacazette. So I want
Kevin De Bruyne type of player.
Yeah, I mean, De Bruyne would be ideal, absolutely. But he's gonna have to push further forward in my proposed system. Yeah. He's gonna have to be real involved. And to kind of wrap all of this up, if one of those 2 main strikers has the ball, let's just say it's Aubameyang, Lacazette, and De Bruyne. Oh, did you hear that? Did you hear that? If it's those 3, the one thing that I also want De Bruyne doing off the ball, but when we're in, especially if Aubameyang or Lacazette are in possession of the ball, I want him to keep pushing forward. I want the ball to come back to him for a first-time strike. I want that to open up as well. So you've got Lacazette on one side; he's the hold-up. Aubameyang's the guy that's going to make the run, and you've got De Bruyne hovering just behind them for them to drop the ball back to him for a first-time strike. And again, this is all FIFA stuff.
This is all fantasy.
This is what I do on FIFA. It's why I'm undefeated. So because I set it to the easiest setting.
Let's address Glenn's question, Tony. I'll go counterclockwise here. What would you rate Leno out of 10 today, Tony?
5.
You say 5?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh.
That's harsh.
Our third, Hopes is watching. Hopes is watching you.
5.
Our probably the 3rd best goalkeeper in the Premier League.
I would say 2nd, to be honest, but because I think was it you guys had the debate? I think only keeper that's better is probably Allison. I don't think Ederson's that good. I don't know what people see in Ederson. I think he makes really dumb mistakes.
You know what people see in him? The 10 guys in front of him.
Yeah, probably.
True.
I don't think he's that good.
I don't rate him that high.
But I honestly, I would give him. See, I'd probably go like 6.5
for today, right? 6.5, and that mark's obviously going to be better and bigger for the season, Tanner.
Yeah, I was tempted to go 6.
I was going to go 7. You know what? I'm going 7.
Let me throw this question out there without seeing the game completely and just watching the highlights.
Uh-oh.
Shame on me, I know. Shame. For shame. Did he exude confidence that a good goalkeeper needs to in that kind of situation in that arena, Tanner?
Still needs to work on it.
I
The assurance and in front of the shaky behind the shaky
I was gonna say,
defense.
if you look at the four in front of him, who's gonna be confident? Tell me.
I think
wanna be
Leno
that
is
man.
confident in his own abilities. I don't think he trusts the four guys in front of him. Let me rephrase. I don't think he trusts the two guys in front of him. I'm not saying he trusts the two out wide, but I'm going to make it a little more specific. I don't think he trusts any combination of the two guys in front of him. And the fact is, those three guys have to communicate infinitely better for this team to be for any team to be successful. You have to have communication. This team doesn't have that. That's the one biggest problem with our defending is lack of communication. I think Leno's confident in his own abilities. I don't think he trusts the two guys in front of him, let alone the four. I don't think he trusts those two guys. But in this particular instance, I personally didn't see anything. That's a good question, Ray.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think I saw anything that would lend itself for me to say no, he wasn't confident. I think he, I mean, not saying he was perfect by any stretch. His number, Glenn, I would say 6. Before Tony answered, the first number popped into my head was 6. I'm going to stick with that. I thought he made a couple, like Ryan said, a couple of great saves.
You're right. You're right in between Ryan and Tony. Yeah. He's derisory 5. Stan, Bernd Leno today.
Look, just following on the back of what Tanner said there, right? If us the fans don't have much confidence in the centre pairing, why should the keeper?
Yeah,
you know, sure. I really think Bernd Leno is probably one of the best bits of business that we've done in the transfer market in a while. 23.5 million or something around now, under 25 million that we paid for him, and if it wasn't for him, we'd probably be a little bit further down the table. I think there's been a lot of games where he's actually managed to keep the score a little bit more respectable for us. So I'd probably rate him on today's performance 6.5, but he didn't really get a lot of help from in front of him. I mean, that first goal from Bar, I mean, there was a lot more that the defenders could have done to help the goalkeeper out on that first one for sure.
All right, we're out of the Europa League. That reduces the amount of games that we're going to play this season. We probably got 11 games, 11 games left in the league, and if we go all the way in the FA Cup, we've got probably 4 more games to go. Tony, what do you want to see for the remainder of the season? What would you like to see? Where are we right now? Obviously, very despondent with the results. We're out of the Europa League. Like I said, probably at the start of the show, I didn't think we were going to win the competition, but I thought we would get to the quarterfinals. And this is a big disappointment that the team has to overcome, starting with the FA Cup on Monday.
I want to see and I
bless you.
Want to tempo. Then I want to see us play for a solid 90 minutes, let alone solid 45 minutes and a half.
Yeah. Ryan, we're looking at probably 15 games if we're going to go all the way in the FA Cup, which I think we can do quite well in that competition now. I think unfortunately, it's more our speed and more our level right now at this point in the season where we are as a club.
Yeah, I mean, put it to you bluntly, I want to see from us, I want us to go to the orgy and get the fucking 10, get that hot girl and just start fucking. That's it, man. You can't wait around for Todd to come through the back door. We gotta take our opportunity.
You had a taste of it with three wins recently. You had a taste of it, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, we keep going. I don't know. This game sucks, but I think we were playing well. I think Arteta's putting the building blocks for us to, be better. And I said this. Oh no, I didn't. I was gonna say this is one of my sins on my podcast about confessing my sins. I am more excited to sell players this summer than to buy. I think we need to really get rid of some dead weight. I think we kind of, and I also think too, like in us selling players, it also gives us a good idea of what Arteta wants and doesn't want. Just seeing who he gets rid of.
And Ryan, that was a big part of the last summer as well, clearing out the dead wood.
Yeah, I mean,
Still got some work
we
to
didn't
do.
even do that though. We just loaned the deadwood out instead of clearing him out. We just loaned him out. Like I
Well,
totally.
yeah, you
forgot
gave it to the
Until Nene
neighbor.
is still
We
an Arsenal
we
player.
gave the bad stuff to the neighbor
Yeah,
down the road. You know.
yeah. You give the neighbor herpes, but guess what? You still have herpes. I mean, you know, I don't know. We just need to make some serious moves. That's all I gotta say.
Tanner, what would you like to see in the next few months, heading towards the summertime?
I'd like a solid run in the FA Cup. I'll take any trophy I can get. I would love to win the FA Cup, and guess what? Winning the FA Cup puts us right back. If we don't qualify for Champions League, winning the FA Cup puts us right back into Europa League.
Right back to where we are.
But hey, we're out of it right now, and we're pretty upset. So all I'm saying is, here's the thing: think about not having that 40 million pounds in the summer to spend.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So while it's not the competition we want, is it better or worse than no competition?
And let's not forget, you can also get decent amount of money for your higher up the league you get.
Right.
A better place in the league gets you better money.
Yep. In the league, I think this is going to be greedy, and I'm not sure if it's possible, but I would love to see 21 points out of the possible 33. So I think 7 wins.
That's not being greedy.
And I think 7 wins in the last 11. And I think
draws in there for Tony as well.
What's that?
I think
a few draws in there for Tony as well. 3 or 4.
I think 21 points. I think 21 points makes things very interesting.
We're what? We're 4 points off of
we're 4 points off 5th, and we're 7th out of 4th. 7 out of 4th.
And everybody in front of us is playing each other too.
Yeah, that's another big thing.
It's Wolves and Tottenham, isn't it? And then it's I don't know. It's like a whole bunch of shit. So
I want to see the progress continue under Arteta. I want to see, and I think we will see based on playing time. I think when you look at playing time of certain players, it's going to tell you that he's evaluating certain players to see, okay, do I want you back next summer, or not? Just to touch on Ryan's point about selling players, and we said this here again off the air before we started. Buy all their good players, sell all of our bad players. Well, got to have somebody that wants to buy them. And right now, and the player has to be willing to go. So, and Mesut Ozil is a perfect example of that situation. Nobody wants to buy him because nobody wants to pay his wages. And he loves living in London. He doesn't want to go to China. Not sure he wants to come over here to America. He loves London. And I love London. And if I had the choice, I'd be over there. So I get it.
Who the fuck wants to go to China now? Huh?
No. Yeah,
good luck. Yeah, all that money over there. Good luck.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to play. If you go to China, you're gonna have to play a match wearing a Bane mask.
Yeah, if he's gonna go to China, I'll take a suitcase of Lemsips with him.
Of what?
Yeah.
Lemsip.
Yeah. It's a menthol drink, a hot menthol drink for you. Stan, how does our team need some Lemsip? Are we gonna be okay the rest of the season?
If 5th is the place to get into the Champions League because of the Man City stuff, I just think it's vital now that is what we concentrate on. Mikel Arteta puts everything into squeezing as much as we can to get into that place.
Stan, let me interrupt you real quick. Quick question, just yes or no. If Man City, when they appeal this, it's not if, it's when they appeal this ban, while it is under appeal, do they still qualify for Champions League, or is it automatic, they're out until the only way they get back in is if the appeal is in fact overturned?
Well, if you're appealing, no one's guilty yet, are they? That's the thing.
Yeah, it gets delayed. So I
was watching Andrew's podcast recently. I think it was on with your brother Ryan, and he was talking about Manchester City have hired the lawyers that got Brexit passed. So
Yeah.
they would be a formidable.
Let's also remember
team.
that Manchester City have more money than UEFA. So
Yeah.
Not a small country.
I'm
Or
surprised.
are a small
Exactly.
country.
I'm surprised they haven't hired the legal team that got OJ off.
Oh, Cochran, my boy.
Here we go. Yeah, but he's
They've
dead,
done it
man.
all, Stan. They've
Yeah,
done
they
it all.
But seriously, I think it's vital that we get into the Champions League by hook or by crook, because
Yeah.
if we want to get to where we want to be and we want to be able to upgrade on certain players,
Need that money.
we need to have the lure of the big competition, and as well, exactly. Tanner's doing the old finger pinch money thing. We need as much as that as we can get to where we want to be. And
Yeah.
the big thing that I took away from this game today was the two faces of Aubameyang. His expression when he scored that scissor kick, and as I said earlier, when everybody in the fan base thought that was the winning goal to put us through to the next round, but his face when Olympiakos scored their goal. If faces could tell can tell you a story, I looked at a guy that was just thinking to myself, for fuck's sake, what am I doing here? That's it. I've had enough. That's what I saw in his face. Like, it doesn't matter what I do, we're never going to get to where I want to be as a player. Do you know what I mean? But then
I agree with that. But once he missed that sitter,
but then
cry.
but also as well, it's also down to him to put away the easy chance as well when that falls to him. Do you know what I mean? Because that second shot that he missed, he could have sealed it again for us. It's all right doing the hard stuff with the scissor kick, but that chance fell to him. He should have been able, actually bread and butter right there. He should have tucked it away. But his face when he scored that one and his face when they scored really told a big story. Sorry, Ryan.
Yeah, but did you see his face when he missed the sitter? It looked like he was fighting back tears. So I mean, again, that could be one. That could just be him for his own ego. I don't know, but he looked like he was fighting back tears when he missed that sitter. I felt for him there. But
Did you hear his post-match interview?
No, I didn't.
Oh, watch that.
He could barely get the words out.
He could barely get the way. He had no words.
Oh shit.
The only way that we keep him is if we're in Europe, in my book. It seems to me that you've got to remember, he's not an Arsenal lad. He wasn't born in North London. This is a job for him. And if he got an opportunity to go to play for someone like Barcelona or Real Madrid, signing, that's going to be a big lure. The only thing that stops you from making that move is if you really fall in love with Arsenal and they're in Europe. If they're not in Europe, then the sentiment goes out of the window, and you can't blame a guy for if that's what happens.
And let's not forget with Aubameyang too. It's not like he came in here when he was 20 years old. He was brought in the prime of his career. So I don't doubt that he's looking, to get one final payday from Madrid, if that's where he wants to go, or Barcelona.
Pablo said he's upset. He loves the club but knows he's growing old, to Tanner's point. And after that interview, I actually believe he's staying. Okay, Tony, let's go there. Let's have this bigger conversation. We are in a catch-22 right now. We're a club who will not compete very well in the Champions League, but we need to be there, Tony. I agree with you, Tony. I know the stance from the last 48 hours back and forth with hopes on this. I would want to be in there even if we are getting pasted, because we need that money to progress. Stan Kroenke's probably not going to dig into his pockets. It's got to be sustainable, and we have to generate that revenue. Tony, where do you stand on it?
Yeah, we got to.
We got to be in it.
And Vager said he thought 22 points would be enough to get us in there in the top four.
Ryan, it's a tough one. We're all getting tired of Europa League. We want to be in the Champions League. We want to play Wednesdays. We want to play Saturdays. But likelihood is we will compete to a certain level. But when we meet the Bayerns, the Madrids, the Juves, Barças, it's going to be ugly.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to the money, because let's be real here. None of us, if money was no issue, I would. Well, I mean, I can't speak for you guys. I would rather since see, I'm a little selfish because I don't obviously go to the games because I don't live over there. But like, I would much rather watch us on Thursday nights beat down on the small teams than see us get pummeled by Bayern Munich, Juventus, and all that. Because you don't obviously, like, when it boils down to everything, you want your team to win. You don't want to see your team lose. You want to you want the morale going. You want the team to flow, and I think beating down the smaller teams and maybe even like using that momentum and confidence into the Premier League can go a long way. But fuck it, it goes out the window because we need that money. We need the money. So in that case, and you got to do whatever you can to get a Champions League because we need upgrades big time.
Yeah, Tanner, there's a lot of fans out there that don't want that humiliation. They want to be ready to compete, ready to win the Champions League, but you got to be in it for me.
Got to be in it. And the fact is that, look, at some point in time in all of our lives, we were little kids, and we had that big brother or the neighbor who, we went out and played basketball with, and he abused us, and why? Because he could. He's bigger than us, but what did it teach us?
Better.
Yeah, but what did it teach us? To get better. I want to beat him, so I'm going to get better. So for me, Ryan couldn't disagree with you more on that. I'll take the pummelings because I actually saw somebody on Twitter today say, "Nope, glad we're out of it now. Now I don't have to worry about us losing in the final." Are you kidding?
I don't agree with that at all. Yeah, that's stupid.
I want to play in the best competition in the world. I want to attract the best players in the world. And if that means that we go into Champions League for 2 or 3 years and take our knocks and we're out in the group stage, or we make it to, somehow miraculously make it through to the knockout stage and we go out in the quarterfinal, so be it. We were there, we got the money, and we're competing against the best, and it's going to force us to get better. I don't disagree with that. I want to be there, and like I said, I'll take the 7-0 pastings if that's what it's that's what it's going to take. I don't want it, and it's going to suck like hell in while it's happening. It's a colonoscopy. Not that I've had one. You need it. You don't want to do it. You have to do it. You have to go through. It's going to suck when it's happening. It's going to suck. But when it's over, you'll be like, okay.
I think we have to be aware as well that the whole Arsenal fan base covers all generations. You've got the oldest guys and the youngest kids. They all love Arsenal. They're all going to have different viewpoints. Some of them want that Champions League and are very flippant about staying in it. And others realize it's a process that's going to take time if we're going to be sustainable to get there.
Yeah, I'm like Goldilocks. I want Champions League, but I don't want to Bayern 5-1. I was like in my bed for like 2 or 3 days, just like I can't watch.
I want
football.
This one to be just right.
I can't. Getting hammered. That was like a traumatizing game for me. So I don't know, but yeah, I mean, yeah, we have to go in there. We have to take our butt whoopings like a man. Is what it is.
Better. And it is a cup competition. Stan.
It's going to be harder to go to someone like RB Leipzig in the summer and to speak to Upamecano if we're not in Europe and try to sell him that the reason we want to buy you is because we need you to get us back into Europe.
It's a different knock, man.
And at the same time, you might have another club who are talking to Upamecano that are in Europe and can offer him the same terms and the same deal. This is the difficulty. If we're not in Europe, it's going to be a harder sell. It's going to be such a harder sell.
In that specific instance, and I've been saying this all year here in this, leading up to January, the Upamecano rumors like he was going to come here in January. Why on earth would Leipzig sell him in January? Now, I understand he hasn't signed a new contract, but imagine they win the Champions League. And I got to tell you, I like Nagelsmann. I like what he's doing at Leipzig. He says he wants to be there and build something with them. And from what I can see, it looks like he is. And imagine if they win the Champions League this year. And I'm telling you, it's wide open. They may very well. I would not be shocked in the least if Leipzig won Champions League. Would he want to leave? Hey, man, I just won the Bundesliga and Champions League. I'm going to sign that paper now.
Yeah, no, I think he'd probably still leave, but it's where he would go. You know, if they get to the final, Leipzig, not even if they don't win it, if they get to the final, he's had that taste. Is he going to want to come to a club that's not in Europe?
Right. And like I said, my only point to it, I depending on how well they do, I'm not sure he'd want to leave. I'm speaking from my own, probably my own desire. If I were in his shoes and I were at a successful club like that, and seeing the project that's being built around me, I think my mentality would be, you know what? I think I'm pretty happy here. Now, these guys have obviously other motivating factors, obviously not the least of which is money. Some players don't want to live in Germany. Some players want to live in London. That's a big draw for Arsenal. Hey, I play for them. I live in London.
And they want better competition, which you're going to find.
And they want better competition. So,
Pablo, thanks for being with us tonight. We got a question here that I'm going to ask a question on the back of this. Pablo says, you do know other clubs are going to get richer, and even though we are not poor, we're going to be even more poorer. So I'm going to play devil's advocate, Tony, and this may be taken out of our hands in the summertime, but the whole Aubameyang question, do we sell him to generate funds? This is what happened with Coutinho.
I would have sold him this January.
In the summertime, it may be taken out of our hands, folks. So if that situation arises, I'm saying take the money and reinvest. Yeah. But we can't keep an unhappy player at the club. Ryan?
I mean, it's funny. I've been having this argument with all of my brothers, and I don't know. Because at first I'm like,
taken out of our hands, Ryan.
Because at first I'm like, yo, take the money. Obviously, this guy's turning 31. He's not getting any younger. He's not getting any. I don't think he's getting any better. But then
he's you those 20 goals. I'm playing devil's advocate.
But the point, no, I know. But the point is too is he hasn't shown signs of declining. And the money that we get for him, is it really enough to reinvest into something? I don't really think so. Maybe what are we gonna get, like 50 million at most? That's not gonna get us anything as far as strikers are concerned.
I think we'd get more than that, unless there were a player coming back. I think we'd get. I think right now you're probably talking 70, 75. I think that's about what he's worth right now. Okay. Depending on the club. If it were Madrid or Barcelona and they wanted him bad enough, I think they'd pony up.
For me,
I hope you're right.
For me,
a younger him will cost 100 million. That's Kylian Mbappe. You want Kylian Mbappe? You better be ready to make him the most expensive transfer in history.
For me, the name of the game is goals. Yeah, that's the name of the game. It's goals. So
if you don't score them, you don't win.
As long as Aubameyang doesn't want to leave, if he wants to leave, then you got to sell him. It's as simple as that. But if he's happy if we can keep him happy, why would you want to sell him? The name of the game is goals. You add to that. You don't take that away. It's a gamble, right? Lacazette's not going to step in and score all of those goals. And anybody that we buy, even if they come in for reputation, there's no guarantee that they even settle. So he's proven.
I know it's different, and I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen. I'm just scared. I have PTSD. I don't want another Ozil situation on my hands. And I just don't want us to throw the book at him because, it's Aubameyang, and then we're stuck. Again, it's two different players, apples and oranges. Well, maybe not apples and oranges, but it's different players, and I think it'll be different outcomes. But in the back of my head, it's definitely worrying me.
So what you're saying is, like, you're saying money-wise, you're worried that we increase his contract and put him up to like on near Ozil money, and then he starts to go downhill.
Yeah. Yep. You think he's gonna get better? I don't see him getting any better. So, like, why would we pay him more?
He's on just shy of 200 grand a week, I think. I think if we could do a deal where maybe we rose his salary to something around 250, but then there are incentives built in. If we get to here, you'll get X. If you score this, you get X. And maybe with those built-in incentives, it takes him up to near the Ozil money. I think I could live with that, but I wouldn't want to see him just be given Ozil money straight off the bat. There you go, happy days.
Yeah.
Because his
Based
goal
on our track record, I'm afraid we're going to do it. That's
he gets £45,000 every time he scores a goal for Arsenal.
Yeah.
That's his goal bonus.
Yeah. Real quick to Tony's
He
point.
does have incentives in there, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. Does he?
I don't know. I
Um,
thought he did.
He gets £45,000 a goal. That's part of his contract.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep that in there then. I mean, that's incentive. Yeah.
Yeah, increase or maybe even increase that a little bit, right? You know, to bring it up.
Well, yeah, boost up the incentive money and boost up his contract a little bit, sure.
Yeah.
But if to Stan's point, if you sell him, and let's just say you sell him for let's say 65 million, who do you reinvest the 65 million into another striker? You're almost going to feel compelled to do so because you feel compelled to replace the goals.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, what it comes down to, gents, and I hate to say this, is we either need Champions League football or Kroenke has to put in even if it were a one-time, and I don't want to, I'm just going to say it, but a one-time mass injection of cash to say, okay, here's what yeah, right, exactly.
That's a good one.
I know, right?
Oh, Danny, make me laugh. I love it.
Stay tuned for my Netflix special, guys. I got an hour's worth of this. Anyway, go ahead, Ray.
Next section is your Arsenal song. I think most of us picked this before tonight's results. So I posed the question to the panel. Pick your Arsenal song that best describes your affinity with Arsenal or what they're doing to you right now, how you love them, whatever. Tony, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I love you, but I don't know why.
Explain that for me.
Well, the last 5 or 6 years, you keep watching them. You're like, why am I watching this? Why do I still care for you? And that's just how I feel.
It's good. Short to the point. I like it.
Probably you don't know why because they disappoint you sometimes. Ryan?
Yeah, so I think I said this before we went live. I had like a bunch of good, happy, cheery songs, feeling good, and then I watched the game today and I pulled a 180.
You were going shiny happy people from REM, weren't you?
That was actually one of it was on my list. But and it's funny because the song that I chose, it also reflects even because I was gonna say, so I picked I Hate Everything About You by 3 Days Grace. So and it's funny because like looking back, like I could have picked this song yesterday, which is very strange because like I just said, like I was gonna pick all happy songs, but when it comes down to it, and I really don't want to offend. I know sometimes I offend people, but our fan base is full of morons and idiots.
Can't wait to hear this.
It's a cross section of society.
And
it really is.
And I Hate Everything About You is more directed at the fans, I think, than the club. But I think just after this result, it kind of just the whole shebang. So yeah, I hate everything about you.
Nice.
After this result, that's exactly what I was going to go with. Only I was going with Ugly Kid Joe's I Hate Everything About You.
Ooh,
Not 3 Days Grace. I was going Ugly Kid because Ugly Kid Joe's version is a little more upbeat. It's a little more fun. 3 Days Grace version is just angry.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the song, but
But man, oh man. Yeah, I mean, and it's directed at the fan base too. It's like, come on, guys. What are we, I've been saying to people for a week on Twitter, like some people just want to watch the world burn. They're going to be angry no matter what. We win a game 3-0. They're going to be pissed off we didn't win it 5-0. We win it 5-0. They're going to be pissed off that Aubameyang didn't have a hat trick. Yeah. We win it 6-0 and Aubameyang has a hat trick, and they're going to be pissed off because they weren't throwing around free beer or something like. It's like they're just going to be mad no matter what. They're going to be mad. I don't know, man.
Or those people who want the perfect 90, right, Tony?
Yeah. I gotta go to Stan and give me one more chance at this. I gotta think about something different here.
You're the DJ, Stan.
I went for Public Enemy. Don't Believe the Hype.
Ooh, let's go.
The reason I bring that up, and again, it's kind of to do with our fan base a little bit, me included. You know, we have a lot of players that 1 minute we're hyping them up that they're a bag of shit. And then a few weeks later, we're hyping them up that they're like the best things, they're the answer, yeah, and that we were all wrong. You know, we were all wrong to be dogging on this player. And there's a lot of hype, whether it's good or bad, about players, you know. And that's it. That was it for me.
I like that's a good one.
Tyler?
I'm going to go a little different here. I mean, the music that is up here in this brain. You guys ever see the show Beat Shazam with Jamie Foxx?
I've heard of it.
Screw that. I need to go on that show, and I don't need the clues. They give people clues. Screw that. Just play the song. Let's go. I got too much going on up here. I'm going to give you something different. I think for a fan match day experience, that the pregame song before the players come out of the tunnel should be Thunderstruck from AC/DC.
Ooh.
Think about if they had. Sorry, Ray. I'm keeping the song thing, but I got to go in a slightly different direction with this. But think of actually having a cannon in the stadium that fires. And for those of you, well, you're all in North America. The Columbus Blue Jackets have one, so they exist. It's possible to get a cannon that fires without killing people. So get a cannon. Get a cannon that fires in that little drum break right at the very beginning. Thunderstruck, and boom, fire that cannon off, and then the players come walking out. I just got goosebumps.
If you're going to go down that road, you may as well just go the whole hog. Have the sound that just before the players come out, the sound of breaking glass, followed by the
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Having the mascots just chug beers while they're walking out. That'd be great.
I was actually talking to my buddy at the pub today, and we were talking about if I actually played, as soon as I came out of the tunnel, I'm so fat, I'd be like, I need a timeout, guys. Whew. Somebody get me a shot of Jaeger or something real quick. I need something to, yeah. Anyway, this was good therapy.
For me, I had a little bit of Guns N' Roses. Patience. All we need is a little patience as Arsenal fans. And I think you've all dipped into it a little bit. Patience among the fan base. We got to not overhype it like Stan.
Never going to happen.
Yeah.
Not get too overhyped, not get too high, not get too low. Understand we have a very, very good coach who's only a dozen games probably into his tenure. And, we just need a little patience because I think he's going to make things better. Now, does that mean we have to switch some players out? Yes. We have to move some players on.
All the bad ones.
All the bad ones. Yeah, it's that easy, Ryan. It's just that easy.
Only the bad ones.
We
Just backwards.
We don't know which bad ones are. We're not really sure yet.
I'll get Santa Claus on the case. He knows he has his naughty list.
Some of them are good, and some of them are bad. We have a good coach. We have to believe. This is the hard part. Have patience and belief in the structure of the club to bring in those players that we do need, to scout them, to find them. But look back through the last few years. Stan, you mentioned Bern Leno.
I was just saying that I'm really pleased that we can't do nothing until the summer. This is what we've got. There's no changing anybody, right? And Mikel Arteta is doing a very good job of making everybody feel inclusive to the team. Everybody's getting minutes. And I'm sure in the background, he's making his notes and he's probably even got ideas of who he thinks he's going to get rid of. But I guarantee you that those players don't know who they are because everybody's got an arm around them. And that's what else can he do? You know, you can't minimalize players. You can't marginalize them and make them feel not part of it because we still have every game is important. Like we just said, we need to get in the Champions League. I'm a big believer in that. And you need everybody on board. So fair play to him.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I can totally see him having his arm around every player. And then once that summer comes, you get stabbed right in the back.
Yeah.
And you get sold. Now, that'd be fucking dope. That'd be like the best drama series I've ever seen.
Well, listen, I think you're a great panel for therapy, and I think I actually feel a little bit better tonight.
It's because of the orgies.
I didn't think we were going to win this competition, so let's move forward. FA Cup coming up, and thanks for joining me, everybody. Stan, appreciate your time. Tanner,
After all of that orgy stuff from Ryan, I'm off for a kebab or Pornhub if I can't get a kebab.
Tony is going to go back to battle with hopes now tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. Thanks for joining us, Tony. Tanner, thanks for being in with us, buddy. My
Pleasure
brother.
to be here.
And Ryan, thanks for coming on again. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
Hope you all enjoyed it. Hope everyone watching it at home, wherever you are, is feeling a little bit better about it. Yeah, there's only one team that can win trophies, and we aren't one of them this year in the Europa League.
Oh, by the
good
way, Ars Bros is coming out with our monthly next week. It's gonna be. I can already tell it's gonna be a doozy. So you might want to tune in. There may be blood. Blood might be shed. I'll put
all of your info
hype it up.
down. I'll put all of your info downstairs in the detailed description. Check everyone out here on the panel. Tony can be seen with another fight with hopes coming up very, very soon.
Hey, Tony, you need a corner man. Let me know.
Yeah. Until then, quick announcement. Sunday's podcast, there's no actual game. We'll preview the FA Cup a little bit, but we'll do a What's on Your Mind podcast. We're going to rotate some people in and out of here. Basically, fans, if you want to get in contact through Arsenal Circle on Twitter, let me know. Direct message me, or Gundam News on Facebook. Tell them I hear you want to be involved. We'll get you involved. We'll call you up. We'll bring you into the green room here, and we'll rotate you out. Talk about whatever you want for 5 or 6, 7, 10 minutes, whatever it is. But I want to thank all of you again for joining me. And until Sunday, we'll see you next time. Catch you later. Come on, you Gooners, still. Up the Arsenal, still.
Still.
With hope.